Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Sunless Skies. This is not exactly when I was hoping to get our extra weekend episode out, but it is still the weekend. So we're just kind of generally heading eastward, right? Yeah, just sort of arcing around. I mean, there's just a ton of map to explore. And then there's, well, we have reason to believe there's at least two more maps, right? Assuming we can actually go to the Blue Kingdom, that's a map. And then there was some reason that I thought there was another map, and now I can't remember it. But I think there's still maybe a huge amount of game left. This is remarkably large. Alright, thankfully they turned our engine around for us, so I don't have to back out. And I guess let's just get going here. So, like, we don't know anything about where we're going. I'm looking at the map trying to get, like, steering information, but nope, it's just blank. Fortunately, we are, like, all the way loaded down with supplies and stuff. We can afford to send out the scouts. So I had a little bit of an experience just now. What do we got? Wow, that's far away. That is a significant portion of the map away. Alright, well, I guess we'll head in that direction. I had a little bit of an experience just now. It's the middle of the night. I went and walked down to the gas station. One of the things that I really love about living in a heavily populated area, and I have lived in smaller towns and stuff, and I was shocked by how much of a part of my life this is, how much I missed it when I didn't have access to it. But I love the fact that I can just go shopping in the middle of the night. I do almost all my shopping in the middle of the night. We have a grocery store nearby that's open 24 hours a day. And that is a thing that I did not have access to, like, when I was living up in the middle of the state, or even I moved to Columbus for a while, Columbus in Ohio. And that's not a small town. What is that? Oh, whatever it is, it's angry. Okay, well, let's force open this Rex hold and see if we can get anything. And then that looked like it looked like maybe a juggernaut with like a bunch of weird crystals growing out of it or something. I guess we'll try to kill it. We may have to flee. We'll see how things go. Let's see. Your driver holds your locomotive steady alongside the wreck as your crew take turns at the pry bar. Eventually, the bay doors are sufficiently parted to permit the spryest of you to squeeze through. Soon they return. And what's this they've found? Why, it's a slim clasped box containing, chorister nectar. Actually extremely useful. So we're going to be able to have tea with our devil here in a moment. The box is unhappily sticky. The cause is a resinous block of nectar that sits in the box's center like nougat at the heart of a piece of chocolate. Produced by the gargantuan flowers of the Reach, this nectar is zealously sought by the giant hymnal chorister bees who haunt its skies. Really just horrible, horrible creatures. Alright, let's fight and I'll get back to what I was talking about in a second here. Ooh, okay. Oh, I don't like that. Maybe I don't want to fight that. We have not had great... I'm going to try. We have not had great experiences fighting things that have turnable turret weapons so far, because our locomotives... those projectiles are homing in on us. Oh my god, he's just out of range. Our locomotive is relatively immobile, like we are not nearly as nimble as all enemies seem to be. I'm going to try to use this thing as cover a little bit. We're having some pretty okay shots here. It was a dreadnought. I'm a little bit hopeful that if we do manage to... Damn it. If we do manage to kill it, maybe we can get a dreadnought nameplate from it. Oh, that sucks. You know what else sucks? That cannon is aimed right at me. Get this thing between us. Come on, come on, come on. No, I better move. I was going to try to just hang there and get another shot off. I will say, so far, I'm not taking a lot of damage here. It's working out better than I thought it would. Oh, he dodged. Very narrow. That hit, though, I think. Move. Oof, okay. Fortunately, the individual projectiles there, ow, don't do a ton of damage, but it's not great when you get hit by that many of them. Okay, ooh. Nope, I I dodged the wrong way. I don't know why it's so hard for me to keep straight which direction I'll be moving in when I hit the buttons. Come on, come on. Got it. That was actually not that bad. Trying to get the loot without crashing into the the other body here. Okay, the deranged dreadnought's rabid aggression is stilled now. Your lights reveal glassy growths encasing sections of its ravaged hull. Where the battle has shattered them, they spill across the sky in a plume of shards and dust. So, the eerie contagion of glass that afflicts the dreadnought may yield valuable materials if you can find a large enough slab. We have a 53% chance to gain a pane of stained glass. We discarded the prospect that had us gathering stained glass, but it is just very valuable stuff. My concern here is that we might lose 3 crew if we go for this and fail it. 3 crew lost would still give us... I think we only need 5 to safely operate the locomotive, right? Or we could just loot the hold. The encroachment of glass extends into the engine, creeping along corridors and into cabins, but perhaps the contents of the hold have escaped vitrification. Let's go for this, just so that we know like what kind of random treasures are available in a deranged dreadnought. Like, is this going to be... Okay, so it's boxes, it's not like Sky Stories or anything. A faintly luminescent cage. That sounds pretty good. And we did get a nameplate. The things being transported in this cage did not survive the journey, though they still glow faintly. And an uncanny specimen, which we now know of some uses for. Alright. That was the thing that the scout found. I think we can afford to send him out again. So yeah, I lived in Columbus for a little while. Columbus, Ohio, which is actually a pretty large city. But while I was living there, I was reliant on public transportation, did not have a car. And there certainly were not any things that were open past like 10 p.m. Within not having a car distance. And the bus lines shut down remarkably early in the day, so... yeah, I like to do stuff in the middle of the night. But one of the downsides of that is that it is dark, and that means that sometimes it can get a little creepy. The wreck of the boat? A black hulk in the mist, an old necropolis train. It's a long way from its route. Oh, there's a star-maddened explorer over there. Well, let's do this. Hold on. So we'll get to this in a second. Let me finish what I was saying. So yeah, it was dark, and I'm walking back from the gas station with my haul, and I smelled a skunk. And out by yourself in the dark is a bad time for you to know that a skunk is nearby, but not where it is. So I know that skunks are not a thing that people have everywhere in the world. I think they might be just North American. But probably everybody, not everybody, but probably a lot of people know what a skunk is, because American media, right? If you've ever seen, like, Looney Tunes, Pepe Le Pew is a skunk. So the thing about a skunk is it's like a cat-sized animal. It's black, so very stealthy in the dark. They have a white stripe along their back, or like a couple white stripes sometimes. But they can emit this chemical, if you're not familiar, that just smells... It's not that it smells bad. It does smell bad. But the thing about the smell is how strong it is. They can emit this chemical that you can smell for like an actual mile. If you frighten a skunk, which is the thing I was concerned about doing here. They're not like super aggressive or anything. I'm not worried that I'm going to get mauled. But if you frighten a skunk, they will shoot you with this chemical. And it smells so much more than anything you've ever smelled. Again, it's not that it's that bad. It is bad, but it's like, it's a smell like a burning rubber, sort of, but worse. It's a little bit worse than that. But the smell is so powerful that it completely overwhelms, like, all of your senses. Your eyes water, you can't think. It's just like the only thought you can have is, oh my god, I have to get away from this. It is so horrible. So encountering and so like, if a skunk has sprayed something, you know from an extremely long distance. If a skunk like gets hit by a car or something, you can smell that from super far away. But They often just kind of smell like this a little bit when they haven't sprayed anything, just because the chemical is in them, you know? So if you smell a skunk, like, faintly, you have to worry, oh god, what if there's a skunk, like, behind a tree nearby somewhere, and he doesn't see me and I don't see him, and I just happen to get too close and he gets spooked. So I had a harrowing walk home, like walking slowly but stepping loudly so that, you know, anything around would know where I was, trying to peer into the dark. All of the streetlights, for some reason, along the road that I walk down to get to the gas station are out, and nobody from the city's coming to fix them because, you know, American infrastructure. So I'm like peering into the darkness looking for movement. It was a worrying trip. Anyway, a wreck drifts just ahead. Fierce winds rock it like an empty cradle. Its black and silver bulk gleams in your lights as you search for its nameplate. The Boatman. Captain, a signaler wants your attention. That's an Acropolis line engine. Brought the dead to Memoriam. His eyes widen. But it disappeared one eve. They say the dead woke and commandeered the train. Nonsense, I'm sure. He doesn't look convinced. Well, I guess we're boarding. Your signaler crosses himself. Your pilot grazes the wreck's hull and has to reverse. Your navigator's hand slips while winching the locomotives close. A clang resounds throughout your engine. When you've finally docked, you select a few of your crew to join you. The outer door to the Boatman is rimed with frost. The bolts shriek as they are pulled across. Inside, your torchlight reveals a narrow corridor in somber black, opening onto darker doorways, likely the crew cabins. There is a long moan from somewhere deeper in the engine. Probably the boilers, your stoker whispers. Pressing forward through the cabins, you hear the rattle of something that might be chains. A bit loose in the chassis, your stoker suggests, less confidently. Okay, I do wish we had been completely empty on terror when we came in here. The Boatman is cold and is as dark and cold as the grave. Gaslights flicker on the walls, none substantial enough to illuminate more than the empty doorways ahead. A shattered window in the galley is responsible for the merciless cold. The source of the faint but insistent knocking is less clear. Well, this is, in fact, an unhallowed engine, but there's no way our character would be comfortable leaving that. Unlocked when groanings of the Boatman is a mournful groan on the wind. There's a thing that this game does, and it must just be stuff from this studio, or I guess... Alright, hold on. This idea is going to take me a moment to express. There's a way that they write about the mechanics. This is the sort of thing, this tooltip with the bold text, this is the sort of thing where in a lot of games it would like be exposing the numbers, right? But there's a way that the people who work and have worked for this studio write about their mechanics, and you can see it in Cultist Simulator as well, and... Like I said, I didn't play a lot of Sunless Skies, but probably it's there too. The Cultist Simulator wasn't made by this studio, but it was made by a guy who I think was one of the founders of this studio. Like, I don't think he works for Failbetter anymore, but you can see definitely some aesthetic similarities between the two. Alright, we gotta keep exploring, obviously. Light in hand, you wander the empty cabins and carriages. The floor of the boiler room is scarred with scorch marks. The captain's cabin is littered with pieces of furniture. There are bullets in the walls. There are no coffins aboard, but the hold is locked. A great groaning emanates from within. A hissing sound, like that of an aggrieved cat, comes from the galley. It's probably just Jonesy. Alright, well... So, it's possible that there's something alive in the galley. It's also possible that a hissing sound is just pressure escaping from something. But if there's already stories about this engine, one would presume it's been out here for quite some time. And that if something was going to lose pressure, it would have done so already. Okay, if there's something alive in the galley, we need to go look at the galley first and not like try to open up one of the other rooms and have whatever it is come up behind us, right? A pot has been left on the hob, boiling away. Inside, teeth? A sudden hissing. Your stoker stifles a scream. It's just a pipe giving out in the cold, steam pouring from the rupture like smoke. Boy, pretty remarkable that that would happen at exactly this moment and not any earlier. A groaning can be heard from below, like the sound of a pipe before it bursts, or a particularly unhappy digestive tract. Well, I am familiar with that one. Alright, I guess let's start with the crew cabins. Again, I'm trying here to, like, make sure that we're not going to end up surrounded by anything that might still be living on the ship or unliving on the ship. You pass a mirror and glimpse a skull where your face should be. The rest is mantled in shadow. Returning to the mirror, you see the glass is broken. There is a hole in the wall. Oh, good! A gaslight gutters and dies. You are left in darkness. Okay, this is worrying. I guess let's check out the engine room. Something's moving around in the walls of the ship, something that is an exposed skull. Listen, I'm a great friend to exposed skulls. I believe strongly in the heroic nature of the skeleton. And I'm trying to say this as loudly as possible so that the skeletons on board the ship will definitely hear me. The air is as hot and dry as the heart of a work world. The incinerator has been switched on. Something is burning inside. Peering in, you can make out the remains of a bundle of black and silver uniforms, smoldering into ash. You can hear weeping somewhere far away. Okay, well, it's very haunted, I get that. I suppose let's investigate the captain's cabin. At the end of this black-walled corridor, the captain was afforded some measure of privacy from her crew. The room is Spartan. The bed looks uncomfortable. Someone has arranged her pillows and a surprising number of moldering stuffed toys beneath her sheets in the semblance of a sleeping form. The only other furniture in the room is a barren writing desk, with a journal and a pen abandoned upon it. So this could be that, like, she knew something was going to happen, or she had a sense that something was happening, and she arranged the toys and the pillows on the bed so that anybody who came in to mutiny her would go after the apparent sleeping form in the bed, and she's somewhere else in the room watching, and thus not having someone get the drop on her. But, again, it seems like it's been here for quite some time, right? Probably we're talking about the distant past. Alright, so we have the option of reading the captain's log. Why can't we do this? I don't have enough tales of terror. You've read enough penny dreadfuls in your time to locate the source of the trouble. Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't realize that... Okay, well, there's a mirror's roll here that we actually don't have that good of a chance to succeed on, which is kind of crazy considering how high my mirrors is. Well, I guess let's read the captain's log. It must offer hints as to the goings-on. Something unnatural abides here. It's a shame. Wow, 10 terror. Cool. Your light gutters and dies. You hear footsteps nearby. Your crew? You stumble in the dark. A cold hand takes yours, clammy like the bottom of a pond. Let me help you. Your light flares again. The pallid, bloated face smiles like an overripe peach splitting. Your navigator finds you sometime later. Why was your lamp out, Captain? Okay, 10 more terror. So... we need to come back here later when we've read up on horror stories a little bit more, apparently. That's very interesting to me. This is gonna bother the hell out of me. This right here is a way in which I am like the character we are playing. The suspense of this is really gonna bother me. Fortunately, we do know a place that we can trivially pick up a whole lot of tales of terror. Although we would have to go back to the Reach to do so. I suppose, for the moment, let us disembark. Your crew do not need to be told twice. Back through the freezing carriages, back past the shattered window in the empty cabins, back through the creaking door, and away into the heat and light of your own engine. We'll be back. Oh, hey, I almost forgot. Officers. Oh, that's right. I got rid of our... I sold off our nectar under the thought that if we were going to get any nectar from something, we'd probably be able to get more than one. Ah, well. Never mind. We're not advancing that plot after all. Oh, hey, that looks mineable. I suppose we're a little occupied at the moment. Ow. Trying to use some cover here. Come on, you know you want to come around. Come on. Oh my god, vent, vent, vent! There we go. Okay, it's been a little wild out here so far. Be happy to see a new port. Well, we could try to take on board one of the crew. I think that's maybe not a great plan. We're fine on crew. Let's just gain some treasures. An intriguingly bulging sack. How pleasingly it rattles. Okay, that sounds like it probably won't be terrifying. At 25 sovereigns, that's fine. Alright, yeah, we will definitely be back to the wreck of the boatman at some point. For now, let's just get the hell out of here before something maybe even worse than a skunk spray befalls us. Okay, that's just a normal dreadnought, which we do not have to fight. And which presumably might be able to be tricked into defending us, should it come to that. Also, it's loud! Very loud! Okay, that's not really what I'm looking for. I'm hoping that he will discover a port for us. There's got to be a port out here somewhere, right? We'll move forward a little bit and send him out again. One of the things that's really, that's kind of scary about the skunk spray is that it takes forever for it to go away. He found nothing. Alright. What have we here? Of course, a wreck that gleams with frost, etc. I think perhaps just mourning the dead, losing a little bit of terror, might be in our best interest. 42% is high. Yeah, that dropped it by 5. That's not bad. Oh! We spawned a Reach Marauder. Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm pretty happy to see him. Oops. At this point, just shooting at the dead. Yeah, a skunk spray, if you get sprayed, especially if it hits you directly with the fluid, it takes forever to get rid of it. We are absolutely just stripping his engine for materials. There's a whole bunch of like goofy folk remedies, like taking a bath in tomato sauce, but as far as I know, you pretty much just have to like found nothing. That night, a lengthy written apology is pushed under your door. As far as I know, you kind of just have to wait for that layer of your skin to slough off. It happens. I mean, like, that sounds grosser than it is. You recycle your skin pretty quickly. But yeah, it just like it sticks around. A lot of people who have dogs in North America, especially like in the Midwest, will have experienced this because dogs. You can't teach a dog not to go after a skunk. Hey, that's like a thing invading our space. I'm gonna protect my family from it. And the dog barks at the skunk, and then the skunk gets scared and does the thing that it does, and then the dog is so unhappy for such a long time. Think about how bad I've described this as, and then imagine that you have the powerful sense of smell that a dog has. Man, nothing. Alright. There's some version of this where we need to just go back to London, right? If I can't find anything out here. I don't think we're quite at that point, but we're not far. What on earth? Oh, okay, that's a little worrying. I guess I've seen that screenshot of like a shattered Big Ben just floating out in the space. Must be close to it. I think I am going to turn back toward London. Indigo-stained starlight dapples a relic of the past. This is a wilderness of exiles, best forgotten. Yeah, let's turn back and go toward London, because I'm a little worried about our supplies. We'll send out the Cavi again, soon. The sky is littered with rocks and ruins. This is the Ormswold, a province only half tamed. Alright. Send out the Cavi and see if he can find us anything to interact with out here. Okay, well, we're headed in that direction. Maybe the eastern part of Albion is just, like, totally wild. It says something half-tamed in that text, but maybe they were being generous. That was a light. Yeah, let's see what it is. Might be something worth killing. Nah. I'm not going to bother fighting a dreadnought right now. We don't need the nameplates that urgently. Okay, I want to turn a little bit. I will say I'm pretty pleased with myself. Like, we've done a lot of fighting here, and we haven't really taken that much damage. Oh. Another one of these huge tombstones. Well, alright, those are tradable. Gained a lot of terror doing it, though. Maybe it's just the, sort of the open nature of the area. We've had to do a lot less, like, snaking around. But it feels like this area is not as large as the Reach. Okay, that's just another dreadnought over there. Wait. No, it's not. What is that? Was that one of these tomb locomotives? Well, it's hostile. We're close enough to London that we could run if we had to. Even your aunt is harrowed by the growing tension. You can still smell the sherry on her breath. A grave robber. Okay, so it's got some kind of like real serious missile weaponry. Come on, come on. It's a little bit like the Reach Marauders in that it seems to stop turning very well after it fires for a moment. Oh. Morale is strained and someone has been careless. One of the barrels in your hold wasn't securely fastened. It is split, spilling the precious hours across the floor. Already the hour's insistent melancholy has begun to permeate the engine, and your clocks are becoming erratic. Man... We could order the crew to collect every single hour, and that would mean that we get to keep the barrel for sale. Or we could just throw it all out. I'm a little afraid that ordering the crew to collect the hours is going to have some serious effects on them, which could push terror even higher. But we're not that far from London. Like, we're not that far from civilized areas. There are ways to burn out the terror. Just do your best, guys. The crew assigned to the task emerged from the hold 30 minutes later with 2-day stubble and faces worn with solemn lines. The geodes are back in their newly repaired barrel, though, safe and sound. It is not the date that it was. I was in the middle of hitting dodge when that thing came up, and I guess it must not have registered all the way. That was definitely a dodging in the wrong direction kind of problem there. Come on, come on. Yeah, my kingdom for some weapons that can be fired like broadside style. I think we're doing some good damage though. He seems to be smoking pretty seriously. Jeez, I can't hit him with the mangonel to save my life, and at this point it literally might be saving my life to do so. Alright. So I know that we're possibly one shot away from death here. But I think he is too. I think we'd be best... I think the safest thing here would be to finish it. Gotta make sure that I don't miss. But you notice I'm trying not to end up nose to nose with him, just in case I do miss. But I mean, if we can do it close enough, it won't matter, because I can just shoot him with the shotgun. Oh, thank God. Please let me loot Hull. The Resurrectionists haunt Memoriam, plundering its graves for corpse goods and cadavers. They sell the valuables to pawn shops, and the bodies to disgraced scholars, deranged artists, and grisly collectors. So we could investigate the bodies, but I really think we ought to strip it for parts, just in case we run into anything else on the way to London. The Resurrectionists are equipped with reinforced plating to better weather the ire of Albion's dreadnoughts. This is only available because we have the mining rig, so that's lucky. Wow, 18 hull, not bad. Grave robbers are loathed throughout Albion, and your engineers set to their task with zeal. I believe that was Death Conquers All, in Latin, as the title of that section. This is generally... No, I gotta turn a little bit more. Ooh. That got really close. Like, we almost died there in battle against what apparently was just some random enemy. And right after I was talking about how I felt really good about the combat that we'd engaged in. Making better use of my surroundings and stuff. But just fighting in the open really sucks. Oh my god, guys. This is happening because of the terror. So, part of me wants to just collect the hours again. We're going to gain terror again from doing so, though. And I'm worried that I maybe am engaging in the sunk cost fallacy a little bit. Like, at this point, throwing out the whole barrelful feels silly, because I already paid the terror cost to keep them on board. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I should pay it again. It's a natural instinct, but one that is to be distrusted. That said, I do really want to make, like, we're still trying to pursue engine upgrades, and yeah, alright. 5 more terror. We're almost home. We're almost to London. Hi. Yep, no, I'm here just, doing legal stuff. Certainly not breaking any laws. Well, the good news is we have a bunch of port reports. We're going to have to pay out pretty seriously to restock, but we can absolutely afford to. And obviously there's some repairs to be afforded as well. Look at how smooth that dock was. I'm trying to give myself every little positive bit I can take here. So, just wander the streets a bit. Streets around St. Dominic's are thronged with crowds. A senior minister is to be tried for corruption. Angry cries go up from the mob, calling for the midnight cells. I have bad news for that mob. It usually doesn't go quite the way you would like. So, it actually doesn't look like there are a ton... Like, we lost a bunch of terror from showing up to port. But it doesn't look like there are actually a ton of ways to lose terror here. Alright, hold on. Let's go to the market. I think we're definitely okay to just sell these. We have just enough tea to do all the things we wanted to do with tea. We have literature that we definitely have uses for. We probably don't want to sell this nectar. I might be comfortable using it for stuff, but I don't think I want to just sell it. We could sell the caged catch. I think this is all that we're selling right now. Then I'm going to take us back up to, like, 4 of each here. Man, our hold is very full. Is that really all that we want to sell? Can we improve our hold further here? We probably can, right? So I currently don't have anything that's just improving the hold. If I were to replace our current... if I were to buy a hold improvement, we'd have to lose something else. So plus 11 hold available for that slot, but it would take 50 veils, which we can't get. Or iron at 50, plus 7 hold instead of the extra crew quarters. Our iron's not that far from 50, is it? It's currently 40. And we could gain 4 by switching engineers. That is more than a level up away, though. We could just do this, though. We could drop, like, the mining drill. Or, honestly, the canning tools have not been super useful to us lately. It is only a gain of 4 hold space. Yeah, and I think part of the problem is we just have a lot of stuff that we're trying to do all at once right now. Maybe what we should focus on is just getting to the Avid Horizon and turning in some of this literature. That'll free up some hold space in a way that makes us a whole bunch of money. Yeah, probably. And then... were we thinking that we wanted to try to get this train? It is just a lot better than our current train, right? We would have to drop one of our light weapons, and I guess which one we drop would be somewhat dependent on what the heavy weapon that we pick up is. This wouldn't gain us any hold space or anything. I mean, we have the engine that has the good hold space, right? Yeah, I don't know that this is an upgrade for sure, but I don't know if it's worth the 6,000 we'd have to pay for it. You know what? 30 extra base hull is probably worthwhile, actually. All right, so that's something we're working toward. Let's head to the Steam and Sapphire yards, visit our bookkeeper, and turn in all of our reports. What do we have? 3, 4? 3. Okay. Yeah, not bad. The bookkeeper reads the report swiftly, makes a few notations, then files them deeply in his haystack of financial records. All right. He conveys that you are doing important work. It seems important. So we could gain ourselves a savage secret. We could gain the bookkeeper's trust. We don't need an invitation to Perdurance. I'm kind of curious about this. Alright, I've proven myself a little bit. What's up, man? He considers you for a minute, tapping his pen on the desk. Then he nods. He communicates that he works for the New Street Line, an organization that arranges for Workworld escapees to be smuggled to safety. If necessary, the line finds them new lives and new names. The authorities do not approve. If you want to help, you'll need to meet his patron. He gives you a yellowing train ticket and shows you an address. It belongs to a fierce philanthropist, co-owner of the Steam and Sapphire Company. Okay, so we have a ticket now for the New Street Line. That's very interesting. Well, I suppose we ought to do the thing, then. Hold on a moment. I don't remember. What was it that we needed for the people on the work world to help push the rebellion forward? Gosh, we have a lot of things. Progress of an uprising. Permits and nectar. Right. We're going to end up needing a lot of nectar. Well, let's request a meeting with the philanthropist, then. You call at the fierce philanthropist's tall, stately house. Her secretary is a slight man with a drooping lip. He jumps up when you present your ticket and ushers you into his employer's study. She sits tall in her chair, a sherry bottle to one side, her papers to the other. She pours you a glass. Please, have a seat. Her voice has a hint of Midland's melancholy. Well, I do have questions, but I wonder if she might not be willing, like, maybe me showing up and suddenly having a lot of questions is going to be suspicious to her. She might think we're a narc or something. Maybe I should just offer to help first. I should probably know what it is we're offering to do. Yeah, alright. I mean, we have the ticket, right? Maybe that will earn us some trust. There is no line. The philanthropist taps a nail on her mahogany desk. Only the idea of one. We have conductors operating throughout the Empire, reporting to me. I'll point you to one of them, and they'll tell you where you need to go. Assuming, of course, you're ready to be responsible for another's freedom. It's a very underground railroad thing they're going for here. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to help. This is like my thing. This is what we're here for. The fierce philanthropist gives you a nod. We don't handle that side of the business here, of course, she says. Too dangerous for our other affairs. Speak to our man at the yards. She directs you to a firebrand conductor. Use the passphrase, bread for blood. Okay, then I guess we're good. You have a nice day now. She smiles at you and turns back to her papers. You leave, but you finish your sherry first. Well, of course, you wouldn't want to be rude. So let's repair our locomotive real quick here. We definitely want to do this. It's starting to get a little expensive due to my occasional incompetence in battle now. But you know what? I'll take occasional incompetence. That's a big improvement. The firebrand conductor meets you in a smoky station pub. The conductor is an itchy-fingered, studious young man, blazing with revolutionary zeal inside his oversized scarf. Very close to a character we could have played, huh? We'll free them one by one if we have to. It's a good job the clientele is raucous and utterly uninterested in your conversation. Yeah, man, keep it down. So what happens on the work worlds, and how exactly are you working against it? I mean, I know how I'm working against it, but what are you doing for the struggle? Everyone deserves the right to their own hours, to live them at the pace God intended. But on the work worlds, a pauper spends a month of their life to ensure an hour of rich man's luxury. The firebrand conductor spits onto the floor. Those who escape from the work worlds are hunted. Our patron, arranges passage for as many as she can. We look for opportunities. Empty cargo trains, drunken captains who won't notice a few extra hands on board their trains. You should not sneak people aboard my train. We have a bad history with that. I have a guy, I don't know, I don't trust him entirely. Alright, well, how can I help? There's definitely space on our train. The firebrand conductor flips through his notebook. The lady makes the arrangements through her network. Let's see. Yeah, pick up from here, deliver there. Come back to me, and I'm sure I'll have another who needs your help. There's always more. So I need to collect a passenger from the home bureau at the Avid Horizon and deliver them to New Winchester. Wow. Okay, well, I mean, we have lots of reasons to go back to the Reach, right? Is there anything else we want to do while we're here? Did we have a reason to come back to the Ministry of Public Decency? Hold on. We're just going to go through the quest log real quick. So, for the Song of the Sky, we need to become a venerated explorer. I don't remember exactly what we needed. We need, like, 2 unlicensed charts and something. What was the thing? Oh, you know what? It's in our possessions list. It's this, a moment of inspiration, and 2 unlicensed charts. So we've got 1 of each. We know we can get another moment of inspiration from Sweet Jane if we get 6 more Dreadnought nameplates. And we're getting to the point where fighting a Dreadnought is not like a totally crazy prospect. So that seems doable. We do need to acquire another unlicensed chart somehow. Well, we'll figure it out. So no, I guess there isn't... Oh, I didn't finish going through my journal. I'm very spacey, easily distracted. We know about Mr. Menagerie. He's at New Avon right now, I think. The Parsimonious Chairman can go screw himself. We need to find more ports for the incautious driver, which we were working on. We just need to go back to Leadbeater and Stainrods because we got all the stuff they needed and we were waiting for the researcher to do his experiments. I still don't know what's up with this. I presume once we push the storyline with the Regent's Grave forward, we might get this cleared. The Repentant Devil really does love honey. This whole Regent's Grave thing is that's a somewhat distant concern. The Incognito Princess wants to go to Perdurance. Our rats also wanted to go to Perdurance. We still have people mining at Lustrum, which we should probably go back and collect. The circus wants us to be doing a lot of things. We need to go back to Hybris, which I don't want to do. The clay conductor wants to go to Magdalen's. She wants to go to Carillon. Yeah, like, we're definitely headed back. The Office of Works is prepared to pay for raw materials. But I was a little nervous about doing this because it seems to be powering up the Clockwork Sun. I remember that. Right, I'm supposed to go to Port Prosper for the horological office. I am just not... This is not happening because I don't know where the floating parliament is. Okay, so no, I definitely had no business at the Ministry of Public Decency. Well, okay then. I suppose let's just get back out there. I'm a little bummed out about the not having restored any more of our terror, or rather lost any more of our terror thing. Don't seem to be a lot of opportunities. But, so we want to go to the Avid Horizon. I think I know that that was to the south of London. I know we were just looking at our quest log. Here we go. A long way to the southeast of London. Well, I guess that's the direction then. Maybe I should have bought more fuel. We could have jammed one more barrel of fuel in. Oh well. I am surprised that we covered such a very large distance after leaving the area house without seeing another port. Without even our scout being able to find another port. By the way, I do appreciate, I want to say, all of the commenters who have been providing lots of interesting information, not just about the game, but also about like the things the game might be based on. I have... Are you serious right now? Please do not crash into me. I have very little personal experience of England. You know, I watch, I think, probably more British TV than most Americans do, but that's really it. So, so it's been very interesting hearing about stuff. Apparently, the guy for whom the Airy house is named, and I've already forgotten his first name, but Mr. Airy was a real person who was actually in charge of the Royal Astrological Society or something. Astronomical Society, because astrology is a different thing, I guess. It may not sound like I'm learning from you, but I am, sort of. I still have the Wikipedia page open. I don't think we're allowed here, a signaler mutters. The same for the likes of us. Huh. Wait, what is that? Wait. Fire. Hold on. Who's shooting at what over here? This dreadnought seems to be a little stuck. Look, I'm helping. The HML time is money. I want to help because I want to loot that locomotive. And also, if it does any real damage to either of these dreadnoughts, I'd love to loot them too. You know what? This is a waste of my time. It's just a star-maddened explorer, and because he's not fighting us, he's going to be zooming all over the place, like, lateral to my line of fire, and... yeah, we're certainly not going to be able to pick off a dreadnought with all of these guys around so close together. So what is this thing that we found? That's a platform. The music around here sort of reminds me of Fallout 1. The Wit and Vinegar Lumber Company. Okay, well this is not a place we've been. Oh, too much. Okay. Let's maybe give that another swing. Oh, there's some luggage right out there. The head offices of a lumber concern that imports bronzewood from the Reach. Okay, so I assume they will pay well for bronzewood. Mining bronzewood, transporting it back to London for construction, furniture, and locomotive plating. Its loading platform is frequented by brawny, wind-bitten men lugging slabs of bronzewood into the warehouse. The workers give you unsympathetic stares. I'm trying to work. It ain't safe for tourists. Okay. The workers watch you as you go. Suspicious lot, aren't they? Yeah, that's very interesting. Something tells me I just have a vague feeling that we're not quite done with them yet. Alright, well, I guess let's just kind of head south. So south-southeast. Oh! Okay, well... Man. I never can seem to hit these guys with the mangonel. We'll dodge in this general direction and try to, like, go forward while we fight him. That didn't work. Ah, man, this sucks. Trying to lead the angle by enough. Hey, I finally got it right. Okay, we don't really need the hull. And at this point, actually, I could use a Tale of Terror. Let's examine the captain's logs. Man, a sky story. The captain's door is covered in knots and crosses. So, it transpires, is the rest of his cabin, his logs, and his body. In every game, the knots won. Okay. A gloomy disquiet settles over your engine. Morale is fragile. Yeah, I would say that is generally the case. If we find a new port, that'll relax people a little bit. People do love to discover a new port. Okay. Something is becoming aware of us. So this is not going to be the place we're looking for. I guess this direction is technically south-southeast, but it's not. I don't know if it counts as a long way. I'm expecting the Avid Horizon to be closer to the edge of the map. Yeah, something way off in the distance is kind of becoming aware of us. Well, there's dreadnoughts and stuff over here. If they want to come and fight, we can probably use Her Majesty's locomotives as cover. Trying to avoid running across their direct path. The Chamber of Afternoon. Maybe this is the floating parliament? Oh, you approach Perdurance, where the brightest and most beautiful of London's youth are conserved like jewels in a glass case. I'll be honest with you, I don't 100% know what a conservatory actually is. I've certainly heard the term. It seems to just be like a really fancy school? Okay, that was a good amount of terror recovered there. On approach, Perdurance looks like an opulent mansion caught partway through a genteel explosion. Each constituent set of rooms accounted for, but separate and out of place. Each is connected in a rough circle by narrow, winding passages. The steep roofs are topped with shingled turrets and precarious towers. The elegantly disassembled country house perches on top of a soot-stained windowless factory, whose chimneys belch gouts of smoke and fire. That's a weird thing, architecturally speaking. The docks face a set of polished oak doors carved with a series of masked figures dancing the quadrille? I'm not familiar with that. The windows in the parlor are shuttered, the light stained with pale yellows, blushing pinks, and bruised violets. Lit with the illusion of dawn, or perhaps dusk, you see a room cluttered with stiff-backed armchairs and decorative chases? It's like a chaise lounge or a chaise lounge. Again, fancy English stuff is so often kind of French, but I'm never sure how French. Set against savagely floral wallpaper in shades of burgundy, violet, and Brunswick green. A portrait of the Empress, unsmiling, hangs in an ornate gilt frame. I wonder if there are any portraits of the Empress smiling. A few visitors mill about, casting speculative glances at the exasperated butler while they pretend to examine the decor. Perdurance is a jewel in the Empire's crown, where its favorite sons and daughters are pampered, protected, and preserved. The visitors are puffed up with importance and embarrassingly eager to tell you how they obtained an invitation to the Half-Light Mask. Some through patronage or long service, others through less salubrious means. All are desperate to spend a day in the company of the glittering inhabitants of Perdurance, the brightest stars in Albion's firmament. For here, the sons and daughters of Her Majesty's most important courtiers reside in eternal youth and sophistication. Okay, well, I'll be honest with you, this doesn't sound half bad. I didn't really get along with school very well. Or maybe it's more fair to say that school really did not get along with me. But I could do with some eternal youth. Oh, interesting. The driver sniffs at the air for any hint of loose verdant spores dragged in by passing travelers. I can taste something. A fear. Not death, but the loss of something important. Fragment doesn't want to return. It doesn't want to give up what it's become. They close their eyes, focusing. I can taste its design as well. Its host knew of a place called Hostrop Deep, a desolate corner of the sky. It meant to hide there. The deep will be hard to find. When we're close, we'll need to use our scout. It lies a long way to the south of London. Well, we are in that general direction. Let's talk to the exasperated butler before we just invite ourselves in. He appraises you with an officious disapproval that testifies to years of devoted training. Yes, and? He demands. He leafs through a leather-covered logbook to make clear that he is, in fact, terribly busy. I would love to know what's going on here. He sighs. This is Perdurance, the home of the Half-Light Mask. Here, Her Majesty has created a single perfect day, wherein the finest examples of the Empire's youth may reside for all time. At the day's end there is a grand ball. When it is over, the day is spun anew with fresh hours, and all begins again. No one who resides here will age even a single day. Visitors are permitted, of course, relatives and a select few others, as long as they have an invitation, he says pointedly. Okay, this is sounding less pleasant to me. The single day over and over thing is a little bit less good. Okay, well, who exactly is permitted to reside here? Why, they are the sons and daughters of Her Majesty's most valued, most trusted counselors and confidants. The residents want for nothing. They need fear nothing. They will not grow old or know care or worry. They will be preserved forever in the flower of their youth and innocence. These are the gifts that are Her renewed Majesties to grant. Helps to read all the words. Are they allowed to leave? Why on earth would they want to do that? To do so would seem remarkably ungrateful. Yeah, okay, that's what I was starting to get there as subtext. Okay, well, let us bid him goodbye, walk away for a moment, and then do our best Columbo turn and be like, just one more thing, and hand him our invitation. I would like to go inside, please. Through the Empress, straight on till morning. The portrait of the Empress swings open, and a succession of brightly dressed debutantes, sour-faced chaperones, and prim servants stumbles into the parlor. They barely have a moment to rest their feet and take a sip of tea before a panel of wallpaper slides open, the dark maw of a sharply curving passage just visible in the dawn light. The exasperated butler snatches the invitation from your hands. Remember, your invitation only lasts 1 day. It is a warning, but sounds a little wistful. I didn't say it wistfully. Imagine that I had done a better job. He propels you forward to join the court in its procession. You emerge, a little tender, into the morning. Alright, limited time here as always. The morning room is a grander version of the parlor, presided over by the Orient Duchess in her pink and purple silks. Dowagers of varying stateliness and aplomb, take tea and converse in low tones. Other debutantes reply to correspondence, writing notes in elegant script and affixing them with sealing wax. Meanwhile, chaperones give orders to the servants and see to Perdurance's household accounts. The light is a flushed yellow, autumnally ripe. Well, I definitely want to push forward the stories of my crew more than I want to do other things. I am now invested in these people, and I want to know what happens to them. Let's find a way below stairs with the incognito princess. Dearest mother showed me the plans, says the princess. The engineers should be back here, engineering. I do so wish to observe them. Let's rush. She gestures at a seemingly solid wall and urges you to follow. Okay. The loom chambers below the stairs thunder and smoke. There are rows upon rows of hour looms, each tended by weavers with their hair pinned tightly back. The heat of the cooking combines with the shudder of machinery and pandemonium. Watching over it all are the theoretical engineers, access to them barred. Engineers only, states the sign in an angry font. Well, we could attempt to pose as an engineer, or we could just let one of the people on board who is an actual engineer, figure this out. Listen, if you want to get into a place that you're not supposed to be, a rat is your man. Rats can get into or out of just about anywhere. A rodent introduction. While the rats clearly unnerve everyone, when their knowledge of matters mechanical becomes clear, it's easy to arrange a meeting with the engineers who keep Perdurance trapped in its single perfect day. The incognito princess is enchanted by the turning machinery, and the engineers are as enchanted with her. They form a hive of activity around her, competing to answer her questions. She seems unsatisfied and presses harder. The change is the one constant, though, she says. How do you truly prevent it? By what methods does change try to escape your bondage? She realizes you're still there and dismisses you, saying she can find her own way back. Okay, well, good for her, I suppose. Yeah, I guess we just return to the main morning room here. Somewhere in Perdurance, there is a rat, not just the ones we brought with us. A bored chaperone answers your question. Oh, the little fat one? No, she'll only come out later. Her owner doesn't wake up till the afternoon. Hidden in your sleeves, Cinders quivers with indignation. Owner? What a terrible affront to suffer over and over again for all of eternity. Well, we have some more options here. We need to wait until afternoon to move on to the next area. This life in Perdurance is a little bit like a video game, right? The things just resetting over and over again. There have been a lot of good games that deal with this concept. So we can charm the servants, rushing here and there. They are a blur of efficiency and sobriety amidst Perdurance's opulence. We have a 61% chance of succeeding on that. We can attempt to charm the chaperones, who cluster around the debutantes, watching over them with habitually pinched expressions. This would cause us to win favor with both the servants and the debutantes. And we're pretty good at this, despite our veils being our lowest stat. This is an easier check, I guess. We can attempt to directly charm the debutantes, a gleaming group of young men, women, and others, each more elegantly dressed than the one before. Kind of remarkable that they all chose to line up like that. So we only have a 70% chance with that. Well, I guess let's do this. This is both easier and seems to be as effective as the other two combined from the blue text. Oh, failure. Well, the thing about 72% is that it is not 100%. The chaperone suddenly, loudly insists you are standing improperly close. Apparently, several feet and 7 of 8 layers of crinoline and wool between you and them is insufficient. You take 2 additional steps away, which renders conversation impossible, possibly for the best. Okay, well, we didn't get any value there. One of the Dowager Duchesses rings a bell. Conversation halts with practiced suddenness. Morning is over. I wonder if the chaperones are employees of Perdurance, like people on the floor making sure nothing goes awry. Through the darkness, everyone arrays themselves in a procession according to their station. The Dowager Duchesses at the front, debutantes just behind, then chaperones and visitors, and the servants bringing up the rear. There is much jostling for position within each group, according to rules that you cannot begin to fathom. You enter the narrow and twisting passage, stumbling in the enveloping darkness as the debutantes giggle and shout. With each step, the shrieks of hours being spun backwards resonates through your body, leaving you shaken and worn. You emerge, blinking, into the dazzle of afternoon. Here, the curtains are pulled back with tasseled ropes, allowing the clockwork sun to spill its stark gold into the dining room. The long table is set with rows of gleaming china dinner plates, patterned with delicate florals. Silver cutlery, polished to a high shine, gleams atop a pristine tablecloth. Servants pour endless glasses of watered wine, or carry in the next in a stream of elaborate dishes. A plump white rat sits in a little golden cage. A dandy is idly feeding her slivers of camembert. He's happy for you to confer with his pet. This will always advance the story, but failure may impact Wilma's part in it. That's interesting. That said, we're not able to fail, but remember, I think this is only telling us that we have a 100% chance of some kind of success. We've seen partial successes on 100% before. And then we have the ability to try to charm people again. And again, our Veils gives us the best chance. It seems like this would be the hardest roll, right? I wonder if this is bugged and maybe not giving us the real value. Because I would expect this roll to be harder and for this number to be low because this is our worst stat on top of it. Well, let's do this first. Attempt to convince Wilma to speak to the brigade. Full normal success. Wilma patters from the dandy's palm to yours. Her whiskers twitch as Albrecht emerges from your sleeve. "You're here for my part of the number?" Albrecht nods solemnly. Wilma presses close to him. And then she speaks German. And I don't know how to read German. Dinah something. I'm not even going to try. You can all see it. Your sleeve twitches, and Cinders pokes her head out. Wilma jumps. Neither speaks. Albrecht clears his throat. "There is still a place for you, Wilma." Wilma's nose twitches. I'd like to hear that from her. After a pause, Cinders inclines her head. Wilma sniffs. "That'll do, for now." As you turn, the dandy stands. "I say, won't you give me something for my rat?" "Okay, well, we could tell him a terrifying story. I don't want to spend any of our Tales of Terror, but this doesn't actually have the Tales of Terror icon on it, so maybe it won't. We could just give him a kiss. Maybe he'd be down with that. We have an infinite supply of kisses." His emerald green eyes widen in delighted surprise as you make your intent plain. His lips press to yours. After, his gaze follows you as you walk away. I do have that effect on people sometimes. Alright, we've found Wilma. We've managed to push forward some plot here. And we got some debutante's favor from that. The Dowager Empress gives a Dowager Duchess gives a small nod, and the entire company rises as one. You can tell I haven't seen the word Dowager in too many contexts. Twisting, turning, a passage opens behind the china cabinet, and the procession forms once more. You take a breath and step into the close, stifling darkness, trying not to fall behind as the passage contorts and coils. With each step, the shrieks of hours being spun backwards resonate through your body. You spot a figure masked in a featureless black, their face covered by a smooth oval of polished obsidian. Who are they? It is an enormous relief to spill out into evening at the grand ballroom. Everyone finds their place without a murmur, and courtly life is resumed, almost as though the terrors you just experienced never existed. Because, in a sense, for many people here, they totally didn't. Hanging from the grand ballroom ceiling is a vast Ormolu Gasolier. Okay, we're going to look something up here. That might be a word that's made up for the game, but my guess is that it is not. Ormolu is a gold-colored alloy of copper, zinc, and sometimes tin, cast into desired shapes and often gilded, used especially in the 18th century for decorating furniture and making ornaments. Okay. And then a gasolier is a gas-powered chandelier, I bet. But we're going to go ahead and look it up. Yep, chandelier with gas burners. A vast Ormolu gasolier, its spidery arms decked with cut crystal drops. It casts soft yellow brightness onto the masked dancers below as they whirl across the polished parquet floor. Music blends with the hum of genteel conversation and the stiff swish of starched crinolines. The half-light mask is in full swing. There is barely room to stand, much less move. Well, we could, again, try to assist the chaperones, but we've got a little bit of favor with the debutantes. Maybe we should just really lean into that. They wear fantastical animal masks of bright silks, dyed fur, and feathers, affixed with jeweled pins. It's a lot like that scene from the first Dishonored game, I guess. Ah, man, I am terrible at charming people. I guess that fits in with our character. One of the debutantes leans over to accept your invitation to dance, but their effusively feathered mask tickles your nose instead. Alas, after your vigorous sneeze, your companion retreats to the other end of the ballroom along with their companions. Well, that's embarrassing. I suppose it's time to move onward. The music stops. Somewhere below, a mechanical rumble can be heard as the hour looms begin spinning Perdurance's one perfect perpetual day all over again. Alright, well there's a plotline we haven't gotten to pursue yet. One of the blacked-out ballroom windows opens to reveal the passage back to the parlor at dusk, or perhaps dawn. The keening of the hours as they are spun backwards makes your legs weak and your heart pound. You feel unaccountably wearied. You spot a figure masked in a featureless black, their face covered by a smooth oval of polished obsidian. Yeah, there's something wild going on here. We're going to have to figure this out. You enter the parlor through the portrait of the Empress and limp away, sore-footed from dancing and stumbling through the dark. Behind you, the members of the court of Perdurance chatter and take tea, and make ready to begin their day anew. For tonight, and every night thereafter, is the Half-Light Mask. So we're going to need more invitations. Procession emerges from the dark passageway into the dusky or perhaps dawny light of the parlor. Somewhere below, Perdurance's hour looms labor to reweave its perfect day. Soon the sleepless debutante will begin its morning anew. But first, someone approaches. Spending the day at Perdurance reduces your terror, for some reason, and, depending who you pleased and how much, may grant other rewards. One of the debutantes would like a word. It appears you made an impression on the gleaming residents of Perdurance. Wow, that was a significant reduction in terror. They do hope you'll return soon. Even a day as impeccably engineered and artfully arranged as the one at Perdurance can grow wearying unless seasoned with the occasional newness. You leave richer in gossip and soothed by the distractions of the Half-Light Mask. So we got 2 gossip, we got a little bit of experience, a pretty significant terror reduction, which I'm very happy about. Okay, is there anything else going on here? They have crockery for sale, thanks to our affiliation establishment. And at the butler's discretion, they are allowed to sell literature. No fuel, no supplies. I'm tempted to say let's not take anything because of the fact that we're sort of short on fuel, and I don't want to weigh down the engine anymore. But I guess this is not actually a decision that we have to make right at this moment, because I think we're out of time for today. We've done a lot of good work here, though. So that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time to see if maybe we can discover this clockwork sun and whatever deep terrors lie beyond. And we'll see you then.